Commander Olivia Martinez stood at the viewport of the research vessel Curiosity and watched the rings of Neptune glow blue in the dim sunlight. The ship had been stationed near the ice giant for 3 months, studying its unusual magnetic field. Most of the crew found the isolation boring, but Olivia enjoyed the quiet. After 15 years in the Solar Coalition Navy, she had learned to value peace. "Commander, you need to see this." The voice of Lieutenant Sam Porter crackled through her communicator. "On my way," she replied, pushing off from the viewport and gliding through the low gravity toward the bridge. The year was 2157. Humanity had spread throughout the solar system, with colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan. The Earth was healing. After centuries of damage and the United Human Government, the Solar Coalition kept an uneasy peace among the various factions that had developed across the planets. When Olivia entered the bridge, the crew was silent. All eyes were fixed on the main screen. "What am I looking at?" she asked. Sam pointed to a blip on the long-range sensors. "That appeared 5 minutes ago. It's big, Commander. Really big." "Asteroid?" "No, ma'am. It's changing course. Heading straight. For us." Olivia felt a chill. In all of human history, no one had ever found proof of intelligent alien life. There had been bacterial samples from Mars and simple organisms in Europa's oceans, but nothing that built ships. "Battle stations," she ordered. "Already done," Sam replied. The object grew closer, and the sensors began to form a clearer picture. It was a ship, at least 20 times larger than the Curiosity. Its design was like nothing Olivia had ever seen. Smooth curves that seemed to bend light around them, with no visible engines or weapons. "Any response to our hails?" she asked. "None," said Communications Officer Lisa Bell. "But we're picking up strange energy readings. They might be scanning us." The crew watched in tense silence as the massive vessel came to a stop 5 kilometers away. It hung there, motionless against the backdrop of Neptune. "Now they're hailing us," Lisa said, surprise in her voice. "Audio only." "Put it through," Olivia ordered, bracing herself for whatever came next. A voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect English with no accent at all. "Research Vessel Curiosity, this is the Galactic Council Transport Harmonic Resolution. We come in peace. Your species has been selected for evaluation. Please stand by for further information." The bridge erupted in shocked whispers. "Quiet," Olivia commanded. "Officer Bell, send a response. Tell them we're standing by." The next transmission came moments later. "Commander Olivia Martinez, your species has been under observation for several centuries. Now that humans have achieved faster-than-light communication capabilities, you qualify for evaluation by the Galactic Council, a federation of 27 spacefaring civilizations that governs most of the Milky Way." Olivia gripped the edge of her chair. "They know my name. The council will determine if humans should be welcomed as members, quarantined as a potential threat, or something else entirely. Your vessel has been chosen by random selection protocol for first contact. 3 representatives of humanity will be transported to council headquarters in the Arcturus system in 3 standard Earth days. We suggest you contact your government immediately." The message ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. "Get me a direct line to Earth," Olivia ordered. "Priority Alpha." The next 72 hours passed in a blur. The Solar Coalition Emergency Council met continuously, with Olivia joining via quantum communication link. Scientists, military leaders, and politicians argued endlessly about how to respond. In the end, they made their decision. 3 representatives would go. Commander Olivia Martinez, as she had made first contact, Jack Wright, Earth's most experienced diplomat, and Dr. Amber Collins, the leading xenobiologist from the Mars Research Institute. On the final day, the 3 met aboard the Curiosity. "I never expected my first encounter with aliens would involve a legal proceeding," Amber said, checking her tablet filled with Earth's biological and cultural records. Jack Wright, a tall man with graying hair and calm eyes, smiled slightly. "In my 30 years of diplomacy, I've found that politics is the same everywhere. I suspect these aliens aren't so different from us. Let's hope you're right, Olivia replied. They've been watching us for centuries. Think about what they've seen. Our wars, our mistakes, and our achievements, Amber added. Art, music, how we overcame our worst problems. We need to focus on the present, Jack said firmly. We represent Earth now, not its past. A voice came through the ship's speakers. Representatives of Earth, please prepare for transport. You may bring personal items not exceeding 20 kilograms per person. The three stood together in the Curiosity's transport bay, each with a small bag containing carefully selected items. Both personal choices and things the Coalition Council thought might impress the aliens. How do you think they'll transport us? Amber asked, nervous excitement in her voice. Some kind of shuttle? Her question was answered by a soft blue light that filled the room. Olivia felt a strange tingling sensation. She tried to speak but found she couldn't move. The blue light grew brighter until it was all she could see. Then, suddenly, they weren't on the Curiosity anymore. They stood in a vast room with walls that seemed to be made of flowing light. Through a massive window, they could see a star system, unlike anything in human records. A red giant star dominated the view with dozens of planets orbiting it in complex patterns. Welcome to Arcturus Station, said a voice behind them. They turned to see a being unlike anything they had imagined. It stood on two legs like a human, but was covered in iridescent scales. Its head was slightly elongated, with 4 eyes spaced evenly around it, allowing for a full 360-degree view. I am Zilx of the Taraxians, the being said. I have been assigned as your legal counsel for the evaluation. Legal counsel? Jack asked. We're on trial? In a manner of speaking, Zilx replied, the council must determine humanity's place in the galactic community. Some species wish to welcome you. Others view your kind as dangerous. The evidence from your planet's history will be presented, and you will have the opportunity to defend yourselves. What happens if we fail? Olivia asked. Zilx's eyes blinked in a rotating pattern. That depends on the council's decision. But you should know that many species fear humans. Your rapid development is unusual, and your capacity for both creation and destruction is concerning to some. Amber stepped forward. When does this trial begin? It already has, Zilx said. By stepping onto this station, you have accepted the council's authority to judge your species. The formal proceedings begin tomorrow. Olivia looked at her companions, then back at the alien. We didn't come this far to fail. Tell us what we need to know. As Zilx began to explain the complex politics of the Galactic Council, Olivia gazed out at the star system before them. Everything humanity had ever known, all their history, all their struggles, would be judged by beings they had never known existed until 3 days ago. The day humanity would take the stand had arrived. The human delegation spent their first night in quarters that seemed designed by someone who had only read about humans, but never met one. The beds were too short, the light too bright, and the air carried a sweet smell that made Olivia's nose itch. Did anyone sleep? Amber asked as they gathered in the common area. Jack shook his head. Too busy thinking about today. Our council should be here soon, Olivia said, checking her watch. Earth time meant nothing here, but keeping to their schedule helped maintain some normalcy. The door slid open with a hiss and Zilx entered. The reptilian being moved with surprising grace, its scales shifting color slightly as it stepped into the light. I trust your accommodations were satisfactory, Zilx said. None of the humans mentioned their complaints. Now was not the time. We have questions, Olivia said. Many questions. I expected as much. We have 6 hours before the initial proceedings. I will explain what I can. They gathered around a table that adjusted its height automatically to match their sitting position. First, you should understand the scale of what you face, Zilx began. The Galactic Council represents 27 spacefaring civilizations, some of which have been traveling between stars for thousands of your years. Why haven't they contacted us before? Amber asked. The Council has a non-interference doctrine for developing species. Earth was discovered approximately 6,000 years ago, but observation was limited to passive monitoring. 6,000 years? Jack leaned forward. You've been watching us since the Bronze Age? Correct. However, detailed analysis only began when your species developed radio technology. All your broadcasts have been collected and studied. Your internet, your television, your radio, all of it has been recorded. The humans exchanged worried glances. Everything? Olivia asked. Everything, Zilts confirmed. This is standard procedure. The Council needs to understand a species before making contact. So our entire history will be used as evidence, Jack said, his diplomatic training helping him grasp the situation quickly. Yes. Both for and against you. Against us? Amber frowned. This really is a trial? Zilix's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Some council members view humans as a potential threat. Your technological advancement is unusually rapid compared to most species. The rest of the morning was spent learning about the council's structure. The 27-member species were divided into loose alliances based on biological similarities or shared interests. Some, like the ancient Luminar, were so old they had transcended physical form. Others, like the warlike Krell, had only recently joined the council after centuries of conflict. After a meal of bland gray food cubes that Zilx assured them were perfectly suited for human digestion, they were led through the massive station toward the council chambers. The hallways were filled with beings of every imaginable form. Tall, willowy creatures with multiple limbs floated past. Small, furry beings scurried along the walls in groups. Once they passed a corridor filled with swirling gas that Zilx identified as the Mist Collective, a species that existed as conscious vapor. How do so many different life forms communicate? Amber asked, her scientist's curiosity overcoming her nervousness. Universal translators. Zilx tapped a small device on what might have been its shoulder. They analyze brain patterns rather than language. You hear my words in English, but I am not speaking it. They arrived at a massive door made of a material that looked like flowing water but was solid to the touch. Beyond this point, everything you say will be part of the official record, Zilix warned. Speak only when addressed directly by the council. The doors opened, revealing a vast chamber larger than any stadium on Earth. Thousands of beings sat in rising tiers around a central platform. Some sections were filled with water for aquatic species, others with special atmospheres contained by invisible fields. The human delegation was led to a small platform that rose from the floor. Across from them, a similar platform held a group of tall, bird-like creatures with metallic feathers and sharp eyes. The Krell Imperium, Zilx whispered. They lead the faction against your inclusion. They will speak first. A deep tone resonated through the chamber, silencing the murmurs. From the ceiling, a sphere of pure light descended, stopping at the center point between the two platforms. The 472nd evaluation session of the Galactic Council is now in session, a voice spoke directly into their minds. The species designated human from the planet Earth, Sol system, Orion Arm, is presented for evaluation. The light pulsed as it spoke. This, Olivia realized, must be one of the Luminar that Zilx had mentioned. The Krell Imperium has requested to present initial evidence. They may proceed. The tallest of the bird-like creatures stepped forward. Its voice was sharp and clear. Honored Council, we present evidence that the species human presents a clear danger to galactic stability. A screen appeared in the air showing images from Earth's history. Wars, nuclear explosions, environmental disasters. The images flashed by faster than the humans could process. In just 3,000 years, this species has advanced from simple tools to nuclear weapons, a development that took most council species 10 times as long. Their history is marked by constant conflict. More images appeared: concentration camps, mushroom clouds, oil-covered oceans. Jack stepped forward to object, but Zilix placed a restraining hand on his arm. Not yet, the alien whispered. Your time will come. The Krell continued its presentation, showing the rapid depletion of Earth's resources, the extinction of species, the pollution of the atmosphere. Most concerning, the Krell said, is their fiction. The screens now showed scenes from human movies and television, war films, horror stories, violent video games. They create entertainment centered around conflict and destruction. Even their children are exposed to simulated violence from an early age. Olivia watched in growing dismay as humanity's worst moments were displayed for all to see. Without context, without explanation, it painted a disturbing picture. When the Krell finished, another species rose to speak. Gelatinous beings that flowed rather than walked. The Varians will present additional evidence, the Luminar announced. We have analyzed human psychology, one of the Varians said, its voice somehow sad. They are neurologically unique among known species. Their capacity for both extreme violence and profound compassion, often within the same individual, creates unpredictable behavior patterns. More evidence was presented, brain scans, psychological studies, examples of humans acting against their own self-interest. The Varians seemed less hostile than the Krell, but their conclusion was similar. Humans were dangerously unpredictable. By the time the second presentation ended, Olivia felt a deep sense of dread. Seen through alien eyes, humanity seemed brutal and chaotic. The Luminar pulsed again. The initial evidence has been presented. The human representatives will be given time to prepare their response. This session is adjourned until the next cycle. As they were led from the chamber, Olivia turned to Zilix. They only showed the bad parts. That wasn't fair. Fairness is not relevant, Zilix replied. Only truth. Was anything they showed false? No, but then your task is not to deny your history but to provide the context these presentations lacked. Zilx's eyes rotated thoughtfully. I noticed something the council may have missed. You three did not defend yourselves during the accusations. You listened. Most species react with immediate aggression when confronted with their flaws. Jack nodded slowly. We'll need to show them who we really are. Yes, Amber added. All of who we are. As they returned to their quarters, to prepare, Olivia realized the truth. Humanity was on trial and its very future hung in the balance. The human delegation spent the night reviewing Earth's history. The massive data files Zilix provided showed just how closely aliens had been watching humanity. They have recordings of every major broadcast for the past 200 years, Amber said, scrolling through the files. Every war, every peace treaty, every environmental disaster, and every triumph, Jack added. The first steps on the moon, the Mars colonies, the cleanup of the oceans. Olivia paced the room. We need to understand what they're really afraid of. It's not just our past. It's what they think we might become. Morning came too quickly. Silex arrived to escort them back to the council chamber, its scales shifting to a deep blue color. The prosecution will continue today, the alien explained. 3 more species will present evidence against humanity. You must remain silent until the defense phase begins. How many days will this take? Olivia asked. Time is measured differently here. The entire evaluation will last approximately 1 Earth week. The council chamber looked even larger than before. New species had arrived overnight, filling sections that had been empty. Olivia estimated there were now representatives from at least 20 different civilizations watching. The Luminar appeared again, its light form hovering in the center. The 473rd evaluation session will now continue. The Krell Imperium will present additional evidence. The tall, bird-like Krell from the previous day stepped forward again. Today, it wore a metallic vest that glowed with symbols Olivia couldn't understand. Honored Council, we will now demonstrate the unusual speed of human weapons development. The screens around the chamber lit up with a timeline. It showed the progression of human weapons, from stone tools to spears, from bows to guns, from cannons to nuclear bombs. Most council species took approximately 50,000 years to progress from simple tools to atomic weapons, the Krell said. Humans did it in less than 10,000. And in the last 200 years, their technological advancement has accelerated beyond all normal patterns. The screens showed the development of human computers, from massive room-sized machines to the quantum neural networks of 2157. If allowed unrestricted growth, Humans will reach technological parity with mid-tier council species within 100 years, and with the most advanced members within 300. No other species has ever progressed at this rate. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Olivia could sense the unease. Next, a group of small, furry beings took the platform. They moved with quick, nervous energy. The Mindar Collective will present evidence on human environmental impact, the Luminar announced. One of the furry aliens stepped forward. Its voice was high and fast. Humans nearly destroyed their home planet, it said. In less than 300 years, they burned most of their fossil fuels, causing a climate crisis that almost led to their extinction. Images of floods, droughts, and storms filled the screens. They drove thousands of species to extinction. They polluted their oceans with plastics. They cut down most of their ancient forests. Then the screens changed, showing the environmental restoration projects of the 22nd century, the vast carbon capture facilities, the ocean cleanup drones, the replanting of forests. Only when faced with their own destruction did they change course, the Mindar said. This pattern of creating crises and then solving them at the last moment shows dangerous short-term thinking. Olivia noticed something interesting. The prosecution was showing humanity's achievements, but framing them as evidence of unpredictability rather than progress. The third presenter was a tall, graceful being that seemed to be made of crystal. Light reflected off its surface in rainbow patterns as it moved. The crystalline accord will present evidence on human psychology, the Luminar said. The crystal being's voice rang like bells. Humans are psychologically unique among spacefaring species. Their minds contain contradictions that our analysts find difficult to reconcile. The screens showed brain scans and psychological studies. The being continued. They create art celebrating peace while waging war. They express love for their planet while destroying it. They develop medicines to save lives while building weapons to take them. More images appeared. Human art, music, literature alongside weapons, prisons, and battlefields. Most concerning, is there fiction? Humans spend significant resources creating stories about things that never happened. Many of these stories center around conflict, often with imaginary threats from space. The screens showed scenes from science fiction movies, alien invasions, space battles, first contact scenarios that ended in violence. We believe this indicates a species-wide paranoia. Humans expect threats from the unknown, and they prepare for conflict even before peaceful contact is attempted. Dr. Collins leaned over to whisper to Olivia and Jack. They completely misunderstand imagination and storytelling. Xylux hushed her with a gesture. The crystal being concluded. This combination of rapid technological development, environmental recklessness, and psychological unpredictability makes humans potentially the most dangerous species ever evaluated by the Council. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. Olivia felt the weight of alien eyes upon them, judging not just their past, but their very nature. The Luminar pulsed softly. The prosecution rests. The Council will now deliberate on the evidence presented. The human delegation will be given one cycle to prepare their defense, which will begin at the next session. As they left the chamber, Olivia felt a sense of despair. The case against humanity seemed overwhelming when presented this way. They're afraid of us, Jack said as they returned to their quarters. Not just what we've done, but what we are. Fear often comes from misunderstanding, Amber replied. They see our contradictions as flaws rather than strengths. Olivia stopped walking and faced her companions. That's it. That's our defense. They're showing all the ways we're different from them, but they're missing how those differences might be valuable. How do we make them see that? Jack asked. We show them humanity as it truly is. Not perfect, but striving. Not peaceful all the time, but learning. Not united in thought, but stronger because of our diversity. Xelks, who had been silent during their exchange, spoke up. An interesting approach. Most species defend themselves by claiming the evidence is wrong or misleading. You wish to accept it but change how it is interpreted. Exactly, Olivia said. We're not going to deny our flaws. We're going to show how they're connected to our strengths. As they began planning their defense, Olivia realized they were fighting, not just for humanity's place among the stars, but for the right to be understood on their own terms. The human delegation worked through the night preparing for their defense. Zilks provided them with access to Earth's recorded history as seen through alien eyes. They found both disturbing and inspiring moments captured from humanity's past. "We need to be honest," Jack said as morning approached. "If we try to hide our flaws, we'll lose all credibility." "Agreed," Olivia replied. "But we need to show the context that the prosecution left out." Amber looked up from her notes. "I've been studying the council species. Most evolved in stable environments with limited competition. Their development was slow but steady. Humans evolved in a constantly changing environment with many threats. We had to adapt quickly or die." "That's it," Olivia said. "Our unpredictability isn't a flaw, it's an adaptation, a survival mechanism." When Zilix arrived to escort them to the council chamber, the alien noted their tired faces. "You have not rested," it observed. "We'll rest when humanity's future is secure," Jack replied. The council chamber was even more crowded than before. Word had spread about the unusual trial, and representatives from all 27 member species were now present. The rising tiers of seats were filled with beings of every imaginable form. The luminar appeared, its light pulsing gently. The 474th evaluation session will now begin. The human delegation may present their defense. Jack stepped forward first, his years of diplomatic training evident in his calm demeanor. "Honored Council, we thank you for the opportunity to speak. The evidence presented against humanity is true. We have fought wars. We have damaged our planet. We have developed weapons capable of great destruction." A murmur ran through the chamber. Few species began their defense by admitting guilt. "But this is not the complete truth about humanity," Jack continued. "The prosecution has shown you our worst moments without the context that gives them meaning." The screens around the chamber lit up with new images. Humans helping each other after natural disasters, medical teams fighting diseases, scientists working together across national boundaries. For every war we have fought, we have signed peace treaties. For every forest we have cut down, we have planted new ones. For every mistake we have made, we have learned and grown. This is the pattern of human history, not perfect progress, but progress nonetheless. Amber stepped forward next, her scientist's precision bringing order to their presentation. The prosecution correctly noted our rapid technological development, but they failed to explain why we developed so quickly. Humans evolved on a planet with extreme environmental variations. Our ancestors faced ice ages, droughts, floods, and countless other challenges. Those who survived were those who could adapt. She gestured, and the screens showed Earth's varied environments: deserts, jungles, mountains, oceans. Most council species evolved in more stable conditions. The Krell homeworld has had the same climate for millions of years. The Varians evolved in oceans with minimal seasonal change. Humans had no such luxury. We had to change or die. She brought up images of early human settlements, showing how they adapted to different environments. Our capacity for change isn't recklessness, it's survival. And in recent centuries, we've directed that capacity toward positive goals. We nearly destroyed our planet, yes, but then we saved it. The screens showed Earth's environmental restoration projects, the massive carbon capture facilities, the ocean cleanup efforts, the regrown forests. We make mistakes, but we learn from them, faster than any species you've encountered before. Olivia stepped forward last, her military bearing giving weight to her words. The prosecution showed you our contradictions, how we create art while waging war, how we express love while causing harm. They see these contradictions as dangerous. We see them as the source of our strength. She gestured, and the screen showed the diversity of human cultures, different languages, religions, governments, and ways of life. Humans don't think alike. We don't agree on everything. We debate, we argue, we question. This gives us thousands of different approaches to every problem we face. The screens showed scientific conferences, political debates, artistic collaborations. When faced with a crisis, most species seek consensus before acting. Humans try multiple solutions simultaneously. Many fail, but some succeed. This is why we advance so quickly. We aren't afraid to be wrong in the pursuit of being right. She walked closer to the edge of their platform, looking directly at the Luminar. You fear our capacity for violence. You should. We fear it too. That's why we work so hard to channel it, to control it, to direct it toward creation, rather than destruction. The screens now showed the history of human space exploration, from the first rockets to the Mars colonies, from the Europa research stations to the ships that now explored the outer planets. Our contradictions drive us forward. Our fears push us to be better. Our diversity gives us strength. These aren't flaws to be corrected, they're the core of who we are. Xylex had advised them to finish with something unexpected. Olivia nodded to Jack, who stepped forward again. Honored Council, we have one final request. Instead of showing you more images from our past, we wish to introduce you to humanity as it exists today. We request permission to share messages from ordinary humans, not leaders or scientists, but people living ordinary lives across our solar system. The Luminar pulsed, conferring silently with other council members. This is unusual, but permitted. Proceed. Jack activated a small device they had prepared overnight. The screens filled with recorded messages from humans of all ages and backgrounds, farmers from reclaimed areas of Earth, teachers from the Mars colonies, engineers working on the rings of Saturn. One by one, they spoke about their lives, their hopes, their fears, and their dreams of meeting other intelligent life. They showed their homes, their families, their work. They laughed, they cried, they wondered about the universe. As the messages played, Olivia watched the alien representatives. Some leaned forward with interest. Others communicated with subtle movements that might have been their version of whispers. Even the Krell seemed transfixed by these glimpses into ordinary human lives. When the last message ended, a 6-year-old girl from the Europa colony, asking if alien children liked to play the same games she did, the chamber was silent. The Luminar pulsed. The defense has been presented. The council will now deliberate. Our decision will be announced at the next session. As they left the chamber, Zilx approached them. An effective strategy. You did not deny the evidence against you. You reframed it. Did it work? Olivia asked. I cannot say. The council is divided. Some were moved by your presentation. Others remain convinced of the threat humans pose. The aliens' scales shifted to a thoughtful blue. But you have given them something new to consider. The idea that what makes humans dangerous might also make them valuable. Back in their quarters, the three humans waited, knowing that the fate of their entire species now rested in alien hands. Waiting was the hardest part. The human delegation spent a full day in their quarters while the council deliberated. Olivia paced, Jack meditated, and Amber reviewed their presentation, looking for any arguments they might have missed. What happens if they rule against us? Amber asked, breaking a long silence. Xylex mentioned quarantine as a possibility. Jack replied, they might restrict us to our solar system. Or worse, Olivia said. Some of the council species clearly see us as a threat. They might decide more permanent measures are needed. The thought hung heavy in the air. They all understood what was at stake. Not just humanity's place among the stars, but potentially its survival. When Zilx finally arrived, its scales were a neutral gray that revealed nothing. The council has reached a decision, the alien said. They are ready to deliver their judgment. The walk to the council chamber felt longer than before. Other beings in the corridors stopped to watch them pass, their alien expressions impossible to read. The chamber was completely full. Every seat, in every tier, was occupied. Even the environmental chambers for exotic species were crowded. It seemed the entire station wanted to witness humanity's judgment. The Luminar appeared brighter than before, its light filling the center of the chamber. The 475th evaluation session will now begin, it announced. The Council has deliberated on the matter of the species human and their place in the galactic community. Olivia stood between Jack and Amber, her back straight, her face revealing nothing of her inner tension. This evaluation has been unusual, the Luminar continued. Most species come before us after centuries of slower development. Humans have advanced more rapidly than any species previously encountered. The chamber was utterly silent. Not even the rustle of movement could be heard. The council was divided on this matter. The evidence presented both for and against humanity was compelling. Some members argued for full quarantine. Others advocated for unrestricted membership. The Luminar pulsed, its light changing colors as it spoke. After careful consideration, the council has reached a decision. Humanity will be granted provisional membership with certain restrictions that will be reviewed in 50 Earth years. Relief washed over Olivia. They had succeeded, at least partly. The restrictions are as follows. Humans may establish diplomatic relations with all council species. They may trade knowledge and cultural artifacts. They may receive the standard technological package given to new members. The Luminar paused before continuing. However, humans may not establish colonies beyond their home system without council approval. They may not develop faster than light travel independently, though they may receive transportation from council vessels, and they must accept monitoring stations at the edge of their system to ensure compliance. Jack stepped forward. We accept these terms on behalf of humanity. We thank the council for their wisdom and fairness. The Luminar's light shifted to a gentle blue. There is one more matter to address. The council's decision was influenced by something unexpected. Your response to the evaluation itself. Our response? Amber asked, forgetting protocol in her surprise. Yes. Most species react to evaluation with either submission or aggression. Humans showed something different. You listened to the evidence against you. You acknowledged your flaws. You defended yourselves with honesty rather than denial. The Luminar expanded slightly, its light touching each of them. This quality, what we might call adaptive empathy, is rare in the galaxy. Most species are either highly empathetic but inflexible, or adaptive but self-centered. Humans possess both traits in abundance. We still have much to learn, Olivia said. As do all species, even those who have traveled the stars for millennia. The Luminar replied. The Council believes that despite your potential for destruction, humans also have great potential for creation. Your different way of thinking may bring new perspectives to old problems. The Krell representative stepped forward, its metallic feathers catching the light. Not all agree with this decision. Humans remain dangerous. You will be watched carefully. We understand, Jack nodded. We'll work to earn your trust. The council session ended with the formal presentation of membership terms. As they left the chamber, many of the alien representatives approached them, curious about the species that had caused such controversy. Back in their quarters, Zilks revealed something surprising. There is one more thing you should know, the alien said. The trial was designed not just to evaluate humans, but to introduce you to galactic society in a controlled manner. What do you mean? Olivia asked. The council needed to understand how humans would react to judgment before welcoming them into the complex politics of interstellar relations. Your trial was real, but it was also a test of your diplomatic capabilities. Amber laughed softly. So we were being judged on how we handled being judged? Precisely, Zilks confirmed. And you performed better than expected. Most new species spend their entire defense denying the evidence against them. You acknowledged your flaws and showed how they connect to your strengths. This impressed even your strongest critics. Jack shook his head in wonder. So what happens now? Now you return to Earth as official representatives of the Galactic Council. You will bring with you data crystals containing the scientific and cultural knowledge of all 27 civilizations, the traditional welcome gift for new members. Zilix handed them each a small crystal that glowed with inner light. These contain information that will advance your civilization by centuries. Use it wisely. The next day, they boarded a council transport vessel for the journey home. As they watched the massive station grow smaller through the viewport, Olivia thought about everything they had learned. "We're not alone anymore," she said. "Everything changes from this point forward." "For the better, I think," Amber replied, holding her data crystal up to the light. "We have so much to learn from them. And perhaps something to teach as well," Jack added. The Luminar seemed genuinely interested in our adaptive empathy, as they called it. The ship accelerated, stars blurring as it prepared for the jump to Earth. Olivia watched the unfamiliar constellations and thought about how humanity would react to the news they carried. There would be fear, certainly. Excitement, too. Debates about the restrictions, questions about the aliens. But mostly, she thought, there would be wonder at the universe that had just opened up before them. The day humanity took the stand had not been about being judged by the stars. It had been about claiming their place among them. And despite their flaws, or perhaps because of them, they had been deemed worthy of joining the cosmic community. As the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, Olivia smiled. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning.